Yes, we're inside the last half an hour of the SportsMax zone for this Wednesday, and we're going to talk some rugby. The Rugby America's North region will be hosting a women's forum in Denver, Colorado from the 18th of August to the 21st. The forum seeks to identify women who are leaders in the sport across the region and equip them with knowledge in the technical areas. Three main areas to be covered are high performance administration, match and event management, as well as team management. Joining us are two women with impressive resumes who have been nominated to attend this forum. In studio with us is Heather Bernard, an efficiency specialist and management consultant. Heather is manager of Jamaica's women's team, known as the Lady Crocs. Joining us online is physician and assistant professor at the University of Toronto, Dr. Ru Chinto. Dr. Chinto is also Vice President of Rugby America's North Executive Committee. Ladies, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Great to have you on. Yeah, and I guess I'll start here with Heather. The recent America's North event that was staged in Jamaica, I know there was a technical meeting ahead that sort of addressed some of what I just spoke of. How much did that trigger the interest in the upcoming forum?
Well, it really didn't trigger anything with the forum because we got invitations to that well in advance.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rugby union here was invited to nominate someone to participate in this activity. We had the opportunity to nominate additional people at the cost of the union. So the union nominated 3 persons, and all 3 were accepted to participate. So we'll have representatives in high performance administration, match event management, as well as in the other area. I don't remember what it is right now.
Yeah. Well, let me continue though, because rugby is a growing sport in this part of the world, the Caribbean specifically, although I know rugby north, the Americas North extends beyond just this region. But how much catching up does this region have to do if you compare what we have technically and structurally to the world levels or the global levels of rugby?
Well, Jamaica has a lot of catching up to do, particularly because most of our players are based all over the world, and it's important for us to try to get people together to train and to get them to perform. In the recent Commonwealth Games, the commentators repeatedly stated that we have very talented athletes, but we don't necessarily play as a unit. So we need to have that support that allows us to get the team members in a place, to train together, to learn about each other, to develop that chemistry that's necessary for us to do well on the international platform.
Right, and Dr. Ru is with us online. Dr. Ru, what are you expecting to be the major takeaways from this women's forum?
Oh, I think we really tried to plan this to be a very practical forum with a lot of tangible takeaways, and so all the participants are going to have the opportunity to not only learn from people who are experts in the area, but really to create and to use the tools specific to what's important in their own home union, so for instance in Jamaica, and then be able to use that. We're hosting the event alongside a tournament, so then use some of the tools and the skills, the information that they're learning in the sessions, in the classroom sessions, take that to the tournament, take that to the field, start to pick out some of the things that they see in the players there, that they see in terms of the structure and the event and the teams and that high performance piece, bring that back into their own unions to be able to actually have practical skills to become active participants and really elevate the level of the technical skills of the women in the region.
How important is it that, our women are equipped in the technical aspect? Because, many a times we have to call on males to get things done. Just talk to us about the importance of this attribute.
So very important. When Rugby America's North brought together a working group to look at the needs of the women in the region, the women who want to be leaders in rugby, and not just in women's rugby, but in rugby across the board, one of the key areas that we highlighted was around this technical skill set. And so we've had a series of events over the past 3-4 years now, despite our COVID blip, where we've really been targeting those technical skills. It's so very important.
Okay, Heather, this one is for you. We just finished hosting the rugby tournament here in Jamaica. Any areas that you would have noticed from just being involved and whatnot that needs attention being paid to, and of course how this Women's Forum will assist in that area?
Well, as I stated before, we need to focus on high performance administration, getting our team to perform at the highest level with the best people in the sport. We also need to focus on getting people with speed. So we've had players who understand the rudiments of the game, but it's important for us to have people who are fast and able to help us to get those tries.
And you feel like that we didn't have enough of that for this?
We don't have enough of that yet, but it's something that we want to continue to develop on.
Yeah, the women, as far as rugby is concerned, just from the eye test, it appears to me as if the men regionally play a lot more rugby than the women. How do you plan to address that, to build your sport?
Well, definitely we have to find the opportunities for the ladies to play the sport, to train and then to play, and to play at the highest level so that they can improve their skills and abilities to be able to do well at the international level.
If you look at what happened at the recent tournament at the Mona Bowl, we're looking at some of that now. What are some of the areas that made the winning teams better than the teams that struggled?
They train together and they live together. I was told that the American team has the opportunity to train together for extended periods of time. As I said before, for Jamaica, we only come together in the week leading up to that tournament. So we have the ability, but we don't necessarily have the chemistry that is necessary for us to be exceptional.
Yeah. Dr. Shinto, I know that in Canada, where you're based, it's hard to top the sports like ice hockey if you're looking for television space and overall media space and newspapers and so on. How much of a struggle is it from a Canadian perspective to get what you want out of women's rugby?
So that's a good question. Our women are a real shining gem in Canada, actually. Our women have performed quite well for a number of years, and we do quite well on the world stage. I think the difficulty is really in not only just administration, but in society's mindset, accepting women's sport as valid, women's sport as worth putting money behind, and women's sport as worth showcasing on broadcast, just like you are. And I think SportsMax, the way they've supported rugby in general, but women's rugby in particular, is a real example of how some of our broadcast institutions in Canada could step up as well.
Well, thank you for that, Doc. Heather, she just mentioned the word financial, and instantly I thought about how difficult it might be to get, let's just say, for example, corporate Jamaica to support a rugby team. Maybe you can speak to your experience going out and just trying to get some money.
It's super difficult. But then I guess most sports will tell you that. It's really about who you know and who has had some experience in rugby and their willingness to do what they can internally to help us to do well. So we want to appeal to all of Jamaica to say that we have the potential to be an awesome sport, to put Jamaica on the map in another space. And so we encourage all the members of the corporate community to support us in any way that they're able to.
How expensive is it to play rugby? Because, I mean, I'm versed on how much a cricket bat costs and balls and everything, but rugby equipment and just being on the rugby team, is it an expensive sport?
It can be expensive, but for the most part, we get support from World Rugby and RAN, and so we're able to provide some of the basic things that are needed. So pretty much what we need is people with the ability to do well, and as it is now, we've focused on people from the grassroots level, and we don't really encourage them to come in with money. We encourage them to come in with the raw talent, and we try our best to help them to become the best that they're capable of becoming.
Yeah, Dr. Shinto, you have a very high position on the executive of Rugby America's North. How difficult a role do you, on a day-to-day basis, given your professional duties, as we know you're at the hospital at the moment, so you're actually taking time out of your own job to do this interview. How difficult is it for you to give to the rugby product what it needs? Because I know a lot of sports globally which experience success partly because they have administrators who exclusively do that. They are paid administrators and they are exclusively focused on the sport and don't have other jobs.
You've really highlighted a key point here. Rugby's real gem, I think, are the volunteers who work within it. And the women, I think, just escalate that a level further because we are passionate about the sport. We are passionate about the teammates, the people with whom we played prior to retiring and moving into these administrative positions. And we're also passionate about bringing people up. And because of that, we give so much of our time, even when we're meant to be at work, we give a lot of our time. It's not hard to give the time. What is difficult is finding a strategy to make the work that I do sustainable for the next, not even generation of women, but for the next set of women who come in as I leave, the next set of women who come in to take on these leadership positions. How can they be remunerated? How can they do this work as full-time positions to really help the sport grow? That's the difficult bit, and we're working towards an answer.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this segment will, alert a lot of people to the issues surrounding women's rugby, and we certainly hope that you have a fruitful forum in Denver, Colorado, starting on the 18th of August, which is next week, Thursday, a day and a week from now. All the best, Doc, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
And Heather Bernard, thank you very much for being here as well, and we do wish you a successful forum with the women trying to uplift the sport of rugby. I guess this is a women's segment here on the SportsMax Zone, because when we come back, we'll be talking some netball and some of the Commonwealth Netball Sunshine Girls and the excitement they gave to the region. Back in a moment.